All right, let me go ahead and begin by just welcoming everyone. Good morning, parents, and again, welcome to our annual Title I parent meeting. I am Angela Cooks, and I am the assistant principal for our Title I program. We all know Mr. Doyne. He serves as our parent instructional coordinator. And we also have Ms. Javon Kroll with us this morning too, and she is our parent outreach liaison, also known as a POL. And all three of us, we're here, a part of our parent center or our family engagement center, here to support you and your child for learning at both school and to help you be able to extend the learning at home. And we're excited to be supporting you again this year. So I want to let you know about the purpose of this meeting. It is to inform you about the Title I program and how it supports our school in its mission and goals so that all students can have access to a quality instruction and resources that will enable them to meet those state academic standards. That GMAS that will be the tool that determines whether or not they've met the academic state standards, as well as our grading system throughout the year. Each year, we hold a parent meeting or a planning meeting, and the purpose of that meeting is to review data. We highlight all of our accomplishments, and then we also determine our needs and the funding that will be needed to support all of that, those instructional needs for the upcoming year. We had several of you who attended that meeting in the past year. That was the end of last school year. So we want to thank you for coming and attending that meeting and giving us a lot of input into what we're going to be explaining today in terms of the instructional program and the funding that's going to be supporting those programs. All right, Mr. Dorn, you can move to the second one. So we'll get started. Just first want to give an overview of what Title I is and its purpose. And as you can see here on the slide, Title I is the largest rural assistance programs for schools, and the supports that we receive through this funding helps us with students who are at risk of not meeting the state's academic standards. The funding is determined by the number of students receiving free and reduced price lunch. And we do a really strong push at the beginning of the year to make sure all of our students are filling out the free and reduced lunch forms to make sure that we are able to get the amount of funding that we need to support our students in both academic and SEL needs. And again, it also supports our families by offering activities and trainings that will help them be able to increase the engagement in their students' education. And in these meetings, we try to make sure that we give strategies that will help you understand what we're doing in the classrooms, but to also extend that in the home, because it can't all happen in the classrooms. We need students to work hard at home to do a lot of the practice that will help them when they come back to the classroom to attain the information and retain it. All right, Mr. Dorn, we're ready.
So, Ms. Cook, we've had just a few people enter, so I'll explain it one more time now. So, okay. Before we advance, so if you need to listen to this program in Spanish or Vietnamese, we do have two wonderful interpreters interpreting for us in the other channels. So to find that, you'll look for the globe icon on your phone or your screen where it says interpretation. Click on that and look for Spanish or Vietnamese. Si necesita escuchar esto en español o vietnamita, va a buscar el icono del globo o del mundo donde dice interpretación, o quizás no dice interpretación si está en su teléfono, y va a poder seleccionar español o vietnamita desde ahí. Y bienvenidos y welcome to everybody. Thank you, Ms. Cooks.
Okay. All right. More about Title I. There are two types of Title I programs. Students with the greatest academic needs are identified and targeted for additional academic support. And so students in this category would be receiving supports through like a pull-out service or push-in models or in-class programs. Currently, we don't have any schools who are targeted. Most of our schools that are participating in a Title I program or receiving funds, they are school-wide. meaning that the majority of the students are on free and reduced price lunches, which means that we are a whole school benefits from the funds that we receive. So we are currently at 92% students receiving free and reduced price lunches. So that means all of our students are going to benefit from the Title I funds. So the materials, the equipment, professional development that teachers utilize in the classroom, extended learning time for students to get tutoring or extra help. All of this is funded through the Title I program, and those, every one of our students, all 1,637 of those students will be benefiting from the money that, or the funding that we get from Title I. All right, we can advance. And I think I just mentioned that again, that all of our students here benefit from it, and it includes, you know, all of that funding has purchased for the students. We can advance. All right, what are our school goals? So our school goals are aligned to Gwinnett County Public Schools strategic priorities or blueprint for academic success. And the blueprint identifies those key strategic priorities that we will foster in the classrooms, such as empathy, equity, effectiveness, and excellence that you can see here on the screen. So the goals include a commitment to equity, which ensures that every child, each and every child, will have what they need to reach their full potential. And then when we pair that with equity or empathy and effectiveness, then our school will achieve that excellence. So all four of those working in tandem will get us to where we need to be for our students. We're committed to providing a daily high quality instruction, meaning that we have these tiers of learning, and the daily high quality is for all students. We do teaching and learning with the intent of having frequent assessments so that we know where students are in terms of their progress towards learning the material. And then the students are needing some additional help. We provide those targeted small group instruction to give them some individualized help and support so that they can master the learning. And we also have extra supports for subgroups such as our students with special needs, as well as multilingual learners. So that we have programs that, again, touch on all of our students, where they're all getting the same information, but when they need those targeted assistance to help them with areas that they may be having challenges in, we are able to get that done as well through our program. You can advance, Mr. Doan. How do we meet those goals? We have several research-based strategies that we employ in our classrooms. One of them you'll see here is called gradual release. And this is a 4-phased model where we, from teacher to student, we are trying to release that information from the teacher over to the student. And what it encompasses is the teacher will do the modeling in the beginning. They model what the expectations of the learning should be. And from that, the second phase is then the teacher pulls the student in and begins to ask questions and have them work through the problem solving with them. The third phase is they put them into collaborative groups where they talk with their partners or talk with the group, and they learn from each other, still practicing the skills. And then it then goes to the fourth phase where the student is practicing or demonstrating their information that they've learned through individualized assessments or tasks. So through that 4 phase, it is a research-based strategy that teachers use to make sure that there's a structured way that learning takes place. Within that, we start doing our formative assessing. Starting at that phase 2, when that teacher pulls that student into modeling with them, they can begin to hear what students know about what they've just modeled. And so they begin taking in information about what students are able to know and do. And so that phase goes all the way from phase 2 to phase 4 in a formative or informal assessing up to then taking tests where the students have a more formalized way of knowing what they know. We also make sure that we have our students engaged, meaning that they're just not sitting and getting information. They're engaged with the teachers, they're engaged with their peers, and then we utilize real world learning, meaning concepts that they see every day is infused in the classroom so that the application of the concepts makes sense to them. We also have academic and SEL interventions, not only academic, but SEL interventions. We know that students have to have their social and emotional being met before that academic piece can take place. So when we feel that students are struggling with some things that may be going on with them outside of the classroom or inside the classroom, we work through that with our counselors to make sure that they are equipped with what they need to be able to focus on the academics. And then the last thing we build your capacity. We have those family engagement opportunities where you can come to learn more about our program and the strategies that we're using in the classroom so that you can utilize them and help with our students attaining the information and demonstrating that for progress to the next grade levels.
Ms. Cooks, a few of the Spanish-speaking parents are saying they can't hear anything. So if you don't mind just pausing for a moment so we can try to address that.
Okay.
I'm not sure why there's three, just within 1 minute, 3 people said they couldn't hear. And John, our interpreter, I won't be able to hear you if you talk, but John, if you don't mind perhaps explaining to them what they might need to do on their device so they hear you, but maybe they're in the English section here. I'm not sure what the case would be, pero si no se escucha esta reunión y quiere escuchar esta reunión en español, hay que buscar la opción de interpretación en su pantalla y va a necesitar entrar la reunión, el audio en español para poder escuchar nuestro intérprete. Let's see if somebody has said something in the chat about it. Okay, somebody says listening. Okay, so señora Noemi dice que está escuchando, señora Brenda dice que no se escucha. Okay, Carolina dice que se escucha muy bien en español. Okay, so several people are saying they can hear very well. So maybe it's something with, there were just 3 right in a row, so that had me a little bit concerned. So maybe, hopefully, John, you can explain it. And let me go back to the screen. They said they can't see my screen here. Let's see what's going on with that. Go back to, no, I think, sorry.
Yes, I'm seeing a blank screen with a pen up there. I don't see those presentation anymore.
Let me go back to it. Let's see what we got. I've got 2 computers working right now. All right.
There we go.
That's where we were, right, Ms. Cooks?
Yes, sir. You can move on to the next slide right there. Okay. Continuing on with the presentation, literacy across the curriculum is a key component of teaching and learning here at LMS. And so with having the literacy skills, meaning that students can read and understand and comprehend the information, that goes across all of the contents that they are touching, such as the math, the science, the social studies, their connections. So literacy is very important. It's the cornerstone of what we're working with our students on to be able to access the other contents. So with that, we ask that parents support us in encouraging our students to do something as simply as read daily at home. Students are equipped already with how to annotate the text and explain what they have read. All across the building, our teachers have taught our students how, again, to annotate within each of the content areas. They use several different tools that help students be able to pull those facts out of the information that they're studying and to place them in graphic organizers so they can organize their thinking and then use that thinking to apply it to the concepts that they're learning. So students across the board, sixth grade through eighth grade, are equipped with all of that. And what we're asking you to do is just make sure that you monitor the students when they do their reading at home, that they are utilizing the strategies that the teachers have taught them in the classroom. But again, attend workshops so that we can help you learn about those different strategies and how to implement them at home. Again, monitor the student progress, meaning going on to the applications that we have so that you can look at students' grades, make sure their attendance is in order, and then how to contact your teachers. Making sure that they're completing their assignments and turning those in, because you can see all of that on the parent view. And then again, attending workshops to learn about not only the academic, but also social emotional development of our students. And we have opportunities for you to engage in workshops throughout the year for that. So just look out for information from Mr. Dorn for those invitations to come to those opportunities for workshops.
So, Ms. Cooks, a few people were saying there wasn't anything in the screen, but I think I fixed it. If somebody can confirm.
Yes, it is. I can see it. How can you support us reaching our goals? Is everybody seeing that screen?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Cooks.
Awesome. All right. So, what are our students learning this year? If you are or have been a part of Gwinnett County Public Schools for a while, you are familiar with the term AKS, or Academic Knowledge and Skills. It is what our students are supposed to know and be able to do. But it's Gwinnett County's rigorous curriculum that prepares students for college and 21st century careers in a global competitive future. And the AKS, or Academic Knowledge and Skills, includes all of the state standards for language arts, math, science, social studies, the career and technical education, our fine arts. Just all of our programs are rooted right into those academic skills that are based off of the Georgia performance standards, Georgia adopted standards. The academic knowledge and skills, just to let you know, they are developed by teachers with input from parents in the community, and it's in response to Gwinnett County Public Schools' mission. You can find the AKS in two places, on the GCPS website or on our school's website. There's lots of information out there on both of our websites. And the easiest thing to do is to go to GCPS and go to the family tab. And if you can't find it, because there's a plethora of information, but you can click in on the search button and put in those keywords to find what you need to find. Put in the AKS, you'll be able to find all of the grade level standards from K through 12, as well as our school website. You go to our Title I program, you'll be able to access the AKS from our school's website. And Mr. Dorn, I don't know if you're able to do the overview and just click on that to give them a quick little view of what that looks like.
AKS standards. So GCPS AKS standards.
Yes.
Right.
Awesome. So again, if you're going to Gwinnett County, you would click on that family, and there's the AKS there for parent resources, and it will take you through all of what AKS is, what it means. And if you scroll down, Mr. Dorn, they can click on each of the grade level to get an overview of each grade level and each content within those grades.
And just so they know, the translation button is here, so we can switch that to say Spanish if they want it in Spanish, so they can have everything in Spanish too. Or Vietnamese is down here too. So back to the presentation, I guess.
Okay.
Let me find that presentation again. This one. Ms. Cooks, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir. You can advance to the next screen or next slide. All right, what tests will our students take this year? So the purpose of our testing or assessment program is to measure student progress and measure achievement relative to all of those state standards that they're learning each year. And so all of that purpose of that is to identify student mastery of the content. It also provides our teachers with diagnostic information and assists the school in identifying those strengths and weaknesses in order to establish some priorities and planning for our educational program. But on a daily basis, this information that we get from testing is helping us to know, again, where our students are in terms of mastery. And if they are not mastering it, the interventions that we use to put in place so that they are mastering it by the end of the school year. The tests that we take a national test. 8th graders take a PSAT in October. We use the cognitive, a COGAT test. We used to do that with our 6th and 8th graders, but we no longer do that for whole grade level. We use it for one of the assessments for gifted identification. We take a district test twice a semester, an interim and a final. We do local school common assessments, and teachers do that throughout their units to determine how students are progressing throughout the units that they're teaching. And again, we look at students in 3 different categories. We look at them, how they score. If they're scoring like an 80 to 100, they are in the mastery category. A grade level, a grade score of a 50 to a 79, then would be review. And then a 0 to a 49 would be in the reteach. And so those are the different categories that student teachers look at in terms of how students show their mastery. And they utilize data talks to go back and see what was it about the questions that the students may not have, how they mastered, what were the strengths of the questions and which ones they need to go back and review. Maybe it was the way the question was worded, or maybe it was the pictures that were used to support the test questions. They go through and try to figure out what they need to do to go back to reteach and reassess the students for mastery. And in 8th grade, of course, we all know that we take the GMAS. And so students have to pass all 5 of 6 of their classes. Language arts and math have to be 2 of the classes that they pass each semester. And then in 8th grade, they also have to pass the reading and math on the Georgia milestones. And so several tests that'll be coming up, and we definitely make sure that you are aware of that through Mr. Doan sending information out on our different platforms. We also, and I need to also mention too, that we take the access test, and this is typically given through January and through March. And it is a criterion reference test that is designed to measure students' the English learner social and academic proficiency. And then finally, we have one more that's a portfolio assessment, and it's called the GAA. And it is given to selected students with special needs. And so instead of giving them a paper-based test, they are portfolio assessments, and it's a assessment of student work that enables them to demonstrate their achievement and progress relative to the skills as well. And Mr. Doan, I've lost sight of the PowerPoint. I'm seeing one of our participants. There we go. All right, we can advance to the next slide. All right, again, on our, we talked about our multi-tiered system of support. This is, again, we teach using the tiered system, meaning we give daily high instruction to all of our students. But then there are going to be times when students need some additional support. And so we begin each of our semesters, we take what we call an iReady screener, and that gives us some data about the students' reading and math levels. And so those students are then placed into different cohorts so that they can get additional support through our extended learning program, or ELT, in the morning. We have that built into our schedule, and it's right after homeroom. So it's about a 40-minute time that they get targeted instruction on the differentiated needs that they have towards getting them to meet the standards. Then we assess daily again, like I said, starting with that gradual release program or format. We assess daily and frequently through just the regular teaching and learning process in their daily classes. And then the teachers are able to use that information to determine whether they're mastered or needing to be reviewed or retaught. On a weekly basis, we offer tutoring sessions. So if students need additional support, they can gain that support through our tutoring sessions. We have morning sessions that start at 8:10. And I believe we have a schedule on Tuesday. Our connections teachers, you're able to come in the morning for connection support. And then on Wednesday and Thursday, we have 2 subjects each of those mornings. Just work with your students to know which of those days that they can come from math, language arts, science, and social studies to get 40 minutes of additional support in the mornings. And then teachers also will, in addition to that, hold afternoon sessions. But you'll need to make sure that you are being in communication with your teacher, because they have to know that you are wanting your students to stay for that tutoring. Also, we have a Saturday intervention program. And this is designed to help students who have missed a lot of work, and they really need to come in and get that work made up. We have a support system there where they can come and just be able to focus on missing work to help them get their grade back to where they need to be. And then we also have a program through our connections. And this is also designed for students through that iReady or through Kid Talks. Every Wednesday, we have our teachers meet about students who are in jeopardy of not passing the classes or are really having some challenges. And we give them also some support through connections, through reading and language arts. We're fortunate to have 3 academies. On each of our grade levels, we offer academies for our ML students to help them with the acquisition of the language, and which was going to support their 4 academic classes. Our special education students receive additional support through their IEP or individual education plan. And then finally, if students have an opportunity, they can participate in AAP or summer school if they're not meeting or have failed first semester or second semester. They have an opportunity to recover that failing grade for both semesters. But there are lots of support systems in place for students to not even get to a failing status. So parents, we really, really just ask, that you monitor what's happening with your students on a daily basis or a weekly basis, because they really don't have to get to that failing status because of all of the layers of support that we offer our students on a daily and weekly basis. And then I'm going to stop right there and just ask if there are any questions that about the information that we shared so far.
Thank you for pausing. So we'll let also, if you don't mind, letting the interpreter ask that same question and then report back to us what questions there might be. Somebody's asking where they can monitor their child's progress. I'm going to put the link to parent view in the
Okay. And Mr. Dorn, you want to, you can talk through that. I know that's something that you do on a daily basis with parents to help them monitor. And we have Ms. Kroll, who also helps us with that effort as well.
Yes, ma'am. So I just put the link to the parent view. There's an app as well. Good morning. Are still estados de sus hijos. There is also and then somebody was asking, they didn't know how to get in. It was asking for a username. Username is always the email address. And then if you for some reason don't have a password or forgot your password, there's a link on Parent View where you can reset your password.
But you want to just share some highlights of the Parent View, Mr. Dorn, and how they can get in and what it shows them?
Yes, sorry. So Parent View is one of our two most important applications, Parent Square being the other one. Parent View will allow you to check your child's grades. You'll be able to see report cards back to when they began at Gwinnett County Public Schools, could be back to kindergarten. You can see the bus number, you can see attendance, you can see discipline history. There is a way to communicate with teachers through the Parent View app and the website as well. You can see attendance history. You can see assignments that they've missed, test grades, and just lots of great vital information in there.
Awesome, thank you. And you can advance to the next page.
Mm-hmm. And there are some questions popping up you might see.
Okay, will morning tutoring continue to be available? Yes, it is available. We've already begun those sessions. And again, just communicate with the teachers through your students' agenda that you want them to attend the tutoring session, because we do want to make sure that we have a way to know that you know where they are, and the teachers, you know, that communication is key to make sure that both we're on the same page about the student being there for the tutoring. All right, again, we know the importance of partnership between school and parents, and we really, really want your input into what's happening here at the school. And so here are some ways that you can give us input into what's happening here at our school. You're attending a meeting today, and so you can give us, you know, a little bit of feedback today, but the biggest one we do is in that Title I planning meeting we do once a year in the spring. So we invite you to come out and listen to and look at all the data, which will be the results of our students, academic and social, because we not only show the academic results, we also look at survey data that you have participated in that talks about, you know, what's happening in the school and where you would see our strengths are and where you would like to see some improvements. You can provide information or input into our goals and our Title I budget at that planning meeting. And then you help us develop our family school plan, the promise, jointly with us. We have draft review documents. If you're not able to go into the meetings, but you want to see what we've drafted up, there's a period of time that you can look at the documents and then give your feedback there. We always want you to be here and be present at the parent-teacher conferences if you're invited to those meetings. And then again, we have our local PTSA, local school council. We have a principal informational meeting called Inform with Irish. Those are some very, very good meetings to attend on a monthly basis where Dr. Irish shares just-in-time information. We've been having this year some additional meetings for just special populations. We've already had an 8th grade meeting because we know in those meetings it's about an hour long, an hour and a half long, and we can't get all of the information, all the questions for each of our subgroups. So we've started to have some meetings that are just designed for 8th graders because they have special things that are going on that may not be happening for 6th and 7th grade. But that is a very good one to come in and listen and provide information. And again, our annual parent surveys, they will begin coming out in November. So please, please look out for that communication and participate in those surveys. And that is the way that you can give us input. And we look at those. Our administrative team, we have a leadership team that has content leaders all over the building that touch every part of our building. So we look at that and make decisions based on your input. You can advance, Mr. Dorn.
Yeah.
And again, your evaluations, your feedback on the effectiveness of our workshops is another way that you can help us to make our program stronger. So complete those evaluations for each of those family engagement activities. And then you can also do that parent survey. All right, you can advance, Mr. Dorn.
Yeah.
All right, just some information we always want you to know about. You have, as parents, the right to request information about the degree and qualifications of your child's teacher, your child's paraprofessional. And so you can refer to the student handbook or student parent handbook, or contact the school for more information if you are wondering about the information or the degrees and the qualifications of your school's teacher. Okay, Mr. Dorn. All right, how can you engage in with our district? So the same as the school, you have an opportunity to have some engagement activities or opportunities with the district. And so the family and community engagement plans are shared on their website. And then Mr. Dorn also sends out communication for different things that they are having regarding our Title I program, but from a district standpoint. And it is encouraged that you participate in the development of at the district level. So the same thing that you're doing with us to help us plan out what happens here at the school, you have that opportunity for the district as well. And so at this time, Mr. Dorn, if you can go ahead and play the video that talks about the district's family and community engagement plan for 24-25. We'll pause and do that. Mr. Dorn, are you still there, or have you frozen?
Ms. Cooks, I think one of my computer's applications shut down. I'm going to restart it over here. It shouldn't take but just a moment.
Okay.
I'm not sure what happened with that. Opening the meeting now. Let's see. I think it's opening now. That's weird.
And then we can also share the English and the Spanish version of this. I think we were only able to play one of them. So our interpreters, if you can just interpret what's happening on the English version, and then we will send both links for English and Spanish to our families that they can look at a later date.
Okay, Ms. Cooks, my Ms. Cooks.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I was having a technical issue on one of my computers over here. Did you want me to share one of the videos or just share out the links?
You can share the video real quickly, and then we can go ahead and send both links out.
Okay. There is one person that's is coming to the meeting and I can't keep them unmuted, so I keep putting them in the waiting room. I sent them a message about it. So if whoever else is letting that person in, I would just say maybe hold off right now until we can figure out why we can't keep them unmuted.
Will do.
Okay. So let's see. I'm going to share this video. All right. Okay, so I need to stop sharing on this computer. Hopefully this is going to work. All right, so
I know it's always tough trying to get this video to go.
Okay, so we need to look in there. It's options, share sound. I think that's where I mess up sometimes. Okay.
We are Gwinnett County Public Schools, and this is our plan for engaging our families and communities to increase the academic achievement of our students. Our district receives Title I Part A funds to help us meet the academic needs of your children. We use these funds to hire additional teachers in our Title I schools, purchase technology and resources, and to hire parent liaisons to serve as ambassadors for the school community. In GCPS, we know that when schools, families, and communities work together to support learning, children tend to do better in school, stay in school longer, and are more engaged in learning. This is why we have invited all of our stakeholders, our families, school staff, and community members to partner with us. Our goals as we partner with you are to establish expectations for meaningful and effective family engagement, and to strengthen the academic achievement of our students by engaging and supporting our families in the education of their children. We encourage you to attend monthly board meetings, join your local school council, or become a member of the Federal Program's Family School Partnership Parent Advisory Council to share your ideas and suggestions about the district and school's improvement plans. Another way for you to get involved is to attend your local school's Title I planning meeting, which will be held between the months of March and May each year. At these meetings, you can review local school data, help to revise the family engagement documents, and provide your input on the school's goals and Title I budget for the upcoming school year. Speaking of money, did you know that you have a say in how the district funds for family engagement activities are spent? This budget is discussed at the Federal Program's Family School Partnership Parent Advisory Council and the local school planning meetings, and we ask for input from all of our stakeholders. A portion of the Title I funds are set aside for family engagement needs. Currently, we use these funds to help offset the cost of ensuring that each Title I school has a parent center and a designated person to support parents. One of the most important parts of the Family and Community Engagement Program under Title I is building the capacity of schools and families to support student learning from home. That means making sure that our families have the knowledge and resources to be instructional leaders from their very own living rooms. It also means ensuring that our school staff is ready to support you as true partners in the education of your children. In GCPS, we understand that families are their child's first and most important teachers. Every school has workshops to help you learn more about important topics such as what your child is expected to learn and how they will be tested. School staff will also guide you on how to follow your child's progress in his classes and the best ways to communicate with his teachers. You can also attend classes that will teach you how to support your child from home with the subjects she is learning at school, like reading or math. Plus, with so much technology at your child's fingertips these days, we can help you learn how to use digital resources like eClass to help you support her learning from home. In addition, starting a new school level can be scary for both students and families. But in GCPS, we offer helpful programs like workshops for parents and school tours for students, so going to kindergarten, 6th grade, or 9th grade for the first time can be fun for everyone. We also know that in education, we have a language all of our own, and we promise to try to speak to you and yours. If you ever need more help so that you can understand us, please ask. We can usually get things translated or find an interpreter for you. We also promise to communicate in multiple ways, such as printed flyers, websites, social media, and text messages, to name just a few, to keep you informed. Finally, we are always learning from you. Each year, we ask you to complete a survey to help us evaluate our program. Your feedback helps us to better understand the needs of the school community, how we can improve our partnership with families, and how we can remove barriers that may prevent you from participating in the school process. We count on your feedback to help us know where we need to improve to better serve you and your children. After all, that is why we are here. Thanks for watching our Family and Community Engagement Plan video. We look forward to meeting you at our next Federal Programs Family School Partnership Parent Advisory Council or at your local school planning meeting. It is our pleasure to serve you.
Created using Powtoon.
Thank you, Mr. Doyne. And we have about 6 minutes to keep it within an hour. Let's see if we can do it, or just a little bit over. We're almost there, families. Thank you so much again for your time and your attention. And we're almost bringing it home. So I'm going to punt it to you, Mr. Doyne, to just talk about engagement within our school. And then I'll pick back up with the last topic, which is the budget and how we're using those funds.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so we have something that's called the School Family Plan Promise that about half the schools in the school district will have, since we are a Title I school, like about half the schools in the school district. And Ms. Cooks has explained that earlier in the meeting. But as part of the plan and the promise, it explains how we are going to work together to make sure our students are as successful as possible. So that's what the school is going to do, what we would like the parents and families to do, what we would like the students to do. So this document is available online, and at Open House, you might remember you signed off on some documents at the beginning of the year through the QR codes that were available at Open House. Or if your child has been enrolled since then, we've provided a packet at registration. And then one of those QR codes does pertain to this plan and the promise, so we can ensure that we are all working together. Talks about things like Ms. Cooks has talked about our meetings, different tutoring opportunities. One of the things that we've agreed on as a school community is the importance of literacy. So we do ask that all students read at least 30 minutes every night from Monday through Thursday, because as we know, literacy is the basis of all of our education. So it doesn't matter if it's math or science, social studies, connections classes, to be able to read is essential to success in all classes. So this is the School Family Plan and the Promise. So ways to get to engage in our school. So things like meeting with me and Ms. Kroll in the Family Center. We do have resources. I would say the most important resources we have are just our experience at the school, and we can talk about how your child is doing in ways that you can help your child be more successful. And usually the first place I'll go is Parent View, to be able to check your child's grades, but also then to communicate with the teachers, because the teachers are with them every day and will know from their perspective what are some strategies that you can implement at home to help them increase their skills. Also, we have many family events throughout the school year. We do have a few coming up, and I'll mention a couple right now. Next Tuesday, we have our Inform with Irish meeting with Dr. Irish. That's Dr. Irish's monthly meeting with families, and that will be on Zoom once again. And she'll have some guest speakers, and it's an opportunity to interact with the principal. Also, next Thursday, we have our Hispanic Heritage celebration. That'll be next Thursday at 6 p.m. And then in 2 weeks, we have renamed our APTT nights. which were academic parent teacher teams. Now they are called Family Academic Nights, or FAN, because of course you are your child's biggest fan. So that will be an opportunity to learn more about your child's reading levels and also ways to support them. And then, of course, we have coming up our early release parent conferences coming in October. And then we have other workshops. Occasionally we'll have technology workshops. We'll always have our Rising Sixth Grade transition. We do plan to begin our English classes for families sometime in November, and we will have limited spots, so look out for the sign-in form for that. We have a parent-teacher-student association. That does cost $8 per year, but every $8 contribution does help us provide more support for our families and for our students and for our staff members. And just by joining the PTSA does not mean you would need to volunteer at the school, but every membership does help. But if you would like to volunteer, we're always looking for volunteers to help with different activities, maybe volunteering in the media center. We have our local school council, which meets a few times a year. You may have seen the invitation from Dr. Irish for people who are interested in applying to be a part of that local school council. You can refer to the, I think the deadline has already passed. But just in case, you can refer to the newsletter from a couple of weeks ago. We have the Media Center Committee to help determine items that we purchase and provide for our students in the Media Center. We have our Title I planning team. Ms. Cooks mentioned the meeting that we'll have in the spring about that, and many other activities and events for our families. How we communicate with families. And by the fact that you're in this meeting tells us that you are getting at least some of our communications. So lots of different ways, whether it's the marquee in front of the school, our social media pages, the family newsletter, our website, of course, phone calls, text messages. Parent Square is a new favorite application for Gwinnett County Public Schools. The agenda books, there's other ways to contact us and to receive communication. If you do want to ask to meet with your child's teachers or communicate with them, we do ask for at least 24 hours or between 24 and 48 hours to receive a response for that. And then I think, Ms. Cooks, unless there's something else you wanted me to cover right there, I will hand it back over to you.
No, great job. Unless there's some questions from parents, I'll go ahead and go through these last few slides and we'll see if we have additional questions. But the last thing that we'll talk about here is just the budget and how it supports our program. But the Gwinnett County Public Schools gives about 1% of their Title I budget, and they disperse that amongst the Title I schools. And I think we have about 78 of those schools now that are whole school Title I. And again, that is used to pay for our parent support, our parent center, and our parent center engagement activities at our school. You can next advance. But here's some information on our title budget allocation for this year. So for the 24-25 school year, we were allocated total funding of $940,023. $940,023. And that again is based upon the number of students who receive free and reduced price lunches. Again, remember, we got about 92% of our students on that. And there's some magical formula or per pupil amount that is given to each school based on the number. And so this is our allocation. And I've got a chart as well as a pie chart there to kind of show you where our spending or how this money is dispersed out to each of the things that we do here at school. So the bulk of our money, you can see about 86, almost 87% of that went to salaries and benefits for teachers, for additional teachers. And this year we're going to be paying about 9 additional teachers to add to our staff, 4 language arts teachers, 3 math, 1 science, and 1 social studies. And these teachers will help us to support and keep those classrooms smaller so that our teacher to student ratio is as best as we can get it so that we can do all of those interventions when we need differentiated or individualized supports for students. The next largest portion of our budget then went to direct instruction, and that encompasses things like our instructional supplies, all of those student support kits that they got this year, 32-piece kits, that was bought with this money in the direct instruction. Our web-based subscriptions, all of this access to supports like Nearpod or vocabulary, USA Test Prep, MobiMax, all of those things that kids can get onto to help support their learning in the classroom. And they are web-based, meaning that they can get on them using their cell phones or their computers. They have 24 hours, 7-day access to those websites. So that's where we spend a lot of our money there. We have some instructional support with about 2%, and that's where we get our professional development of our teachers. We spend a good bit of money trying to make sure that our teachers are continuously building their knowledge to be able to support the students. And then you can see that we have some other supports there. We have a bookkeeper that she does after school work to help purchase all the items that we need. And then we have some funding there for our family engagement. And that's used for interpreters for parent conferences, postage, things of that nature to get communications out to you. And then this Title I wish list at the bottom. We will get another set of funds in February called a carryover. And so with that, we have a list of things that we would like to do. And then those items get onto the budget during the second semester of our school year. But this is how our funding is going to be utilized this school year to make sure that our students are advancing to the next grade level and on time for promotion. You can advance, and then how do we use that again for the family engagement portion of it, for printing, communication, and resources to assist you at home with your student. All right, we're at the end. We're doing good, Mr. Dorn. You want to take it away and take us home?
Yes, yes, ma'am. And there were a couple questions there.
Okay.
So I did put the surveys in the chat earlier. I'll put it there again now. Let's see. So we do want everybody to fill out this survey to just get some feedback from you all, so we can always look to continue to make sure we're providing the best educational experience for you and your children. I just put it in the chat again. The survey, and just to give us feedback on this particular meeting. So let me go back to Ms. Fermina had a couple comments. Obviously, security has been even more of a concern over the last week, unfortunately. So let's see. Go back to her message here. I know. Yeah, there's a couple parents talking about just making sure we're taking the appropriate steps to maintain security in the school, to have the entrances more secure. They're asking for metal detectors. I don't know if you want to talk about those, Ms. Cooks.
Okay. I can speak to a little bit of that. Dr. Irish, I see her on, and would always like to first of all acknowledge that she's here in the meeting too, our principal. So Dr. Irish, if you would love to come in and help us out with this one. But just as all schools, we take safety, very seriously. One of the things that we do is we, again, teach our students about our expectations through the student code of conduct. So they know about reporting things when they see them. We definitely do drills each year to make sure that our students know how to be safe when it comes to, if we don't ever want to have an intruder, but students know how to do that. We have things with our weather alerts. So they are accustomed to knowing how to and what to do in case of any of those emergency times. We also have go ahead, Dr. Irish. I was going to talk about the door system, but I know you're more versed at that. Go ahead.
No, you're actually doing a really fantastic job of summarizing everything that we have. The other thing that I would let you know is that a lot of the information that we receive that helps us to keep our school safe is actually from you all. So we do thank you, our community for letting us know if you see or hear of anything. There's a tip line that is on the Gwinnett County website, and we can definitely add it to our school's website as well. But we do have a tip line. We have drills that we run through. We have safety measures in place here at our school. I think the question was specific to metal detectors. At this point, the district is employing metal detectors and a system to check for that, but it's specific to high schools. So they are looking into different measures. They are looking into different things that can be put in place. But at this point, for middle schools, we are relying on the procedures that we currently have. We're relying on making sure that we have a structured environment while we're here at school, and just making sure that we're getting in front of any information that we receive from our community. But I don't know if that answer, I didn't hear the whole question, but I did go back in the chat and I think it was about the metal detectors, but that will be in place at the high school for games. Not during the normal school day, but just for games at this point, but there will be a progressive plan to address that request.
And we also have our SRO officer who is on site all day long, and we have, you have to buzz into our school to access. So,
okay, and there's a couple other comments along those same lines. And there was one more slide, just so you know. But one was talking about just checking up on the mental health of our students, just to help detect any potential emotional issues or concerns that the school might have. And also, one parent is saying that it's a metal detector discussion about how metal detectors are not healthy for the students. So, this person is recommending to have two people at the entrances when the kids come in to review each child to make sure everybody is safe.
Oh, and you know what? I did, thank you, Mr. Doyne. And I did want to say that we actually do have all of our staff members have a duty spot. So either they are on duty post monitoring students coming into the building and also when they leave the building. So they're either at their door, greeting students as they come in, or they are assigned to a place within our building. And so we do have staff members out monitoring to make sure that we're vigilant and we're keeping an eye on everything. And as you noticed, I know if you visited our school, you noticed that we don't have open doors as we had in the past where you could just kind of come in. There are a lot more procedures in place for who we allow into the building. And with that being said, I know if you do come to our campus, we ask you to make sure that you're not allowing anyone to come in after you allow each person to, go through the questions and allow us to greet them before we have them enter our building. But it is a community effort. I do also recommend that if you have ideas or suggestions that you go to the website and there's a process for emailing our school board that you can send your ideas and your suggestions directly to the school board to let them know what you're wondering or what you're asking of our district. But if it's something specific to our school, then you can email our grade level admin, Mr. Doyne, or me, and we'll take those ideas for Lilburn.
Just a couple more points about that. A few parents are asking for transparent book bags or to put the book bags through a scanner.
And they will have that for the high school games. They do have clear bags. But again, that's a really good idea that we could pass along. And we do recommend you let us know what ideas you have, and then you also reach out to you can go to the district website to share additional ideas that you may have.
I think that was all the questions, and I know our interpreters are interpreting the responses. This was the last slide, Ms. Cooks, and you asked me to close it out. So even though I've got two bosses here with me, but I'll be glad to. We look forward to working with you as partners. We are partners. Please let us know how we can be of service to you for the sake of our students, for their academic and overall well-being. So Ms. Cooks was leading this meeting, and her number is there. And then in the Parent Center or Family Engagement Center, myself and then Miss Kroll. I'm excited that she's been added to work with families. Officially, she's always worked with families, but now officially that's part of her role. And you can see our phone numbers there. I also put my cell phone in the chat and my email address there as well.
Phenomenal, Mr. Doyne. All right, with that being said, if there are no further questions, if you would please help us out with those surveys that Mr. Doyne has put in the chat to let us know how this meeting benefited you or informed you. Would be appreciative of you doing that at this time. And then after that, you are welcome to leave the meeting. Thank you so much again for your time and attention to today.
Another response from a parent. It'd be great to make sure our children are well supervised and let them know what's happening. So just a lot of the mothers, she says, are giving advice. So we have some mothers that are supporting us and wanting the best for their kids, of course.
Awesome.
So let's see. Also, it's important that we're in communication with our own children because the problems are passing, they're happening, and just be careful what they're watching on TV and who they're hanging out with.
And Mr. Doyne, I know this is not the point of today's meeting, but since we do have parents here who are just as concerned about safety as we are, it is a partnership. And so we do encourage, we know that oftentimes middle school kids are curious about different items, or it might be passed from one friend to another. We encourage our families to check that, we don't have clear backpacks right now as a district, and we also do still allow backpacks to come to school to carry Chromebooks and other items they need for class. But as the parents, we do encourage you to check. You can look through and make sure that your child has nothing inappropriate that is they're curious about that may be in their backpack. And that will really help us out a lot to avoid anything from even coming to school that should not be here. But we appreciate all.
Right. And in addition to that, the checking goes into as well as the cell phones. A lot of messages and a lot of communication between students happen on those cell phones. And, just their communication with each other in terms of you said mental health, all comes from how they're feeling at school, between communication between their peers. So check those cell phones, you own them. Check and make sure you know what's happening with your student. As Dr. Irish mentioned, this is a time of curiosity for them. So we want to just make sure that they're staying focused on teaching and learning, because that's why we're here for school.
Looks like Miss Noemi wanted to add something to more what she was saying about the importance of us, of we as parents, making sure we're keeping a good supervision of our own students and who they're hanging out with. So I was going to see if she said she was going to add something else, but I don't see that yet.
Awesome. And again, if you have completed the survey, you are free to exit the meeting. And again, we thank you for your time and input to today.
Yeah, and iPhone is saying if it's possible, just not to give the devices that have come to ruin the new generation. I did. Okay, thank you. Gracias, Carolina. Thanks for doing this survey. The next, yeah, the meetings are recorded. Let's see. Yeah, I talked to my kids about being a good example, and that what's not good for them, and that what's not good for them is let's see. Yeah, just to make sure they're applying the principles that we want to at home. And somebody's asking for the give them a good example is the most important, is what Miss Caroline is saying. It's
And Mr. Doing, can you just I know you mentioned inform, some of these conversations we can have on Tuesday with the Inform with Irish, because the theme is safety on Tuesday. So they may, if they're interested, they can come back.
That's right. Yep. So and the theme was, tell me again the theme. I should know this, Dr. Irish. It was I know we've got some guests, at least one or two guest speakers for Tuesday, but they can bring up these themes again. So any concerns, parents, that, and Dr. Irish was just saying that any further concerns that you have, definitely contact us. But we hope you will participate in the meeting next Tuesday as well. That will be on Zoom. And I think I know what time, but I don't want to say the wrong time.
It's child safety and awareness, and we have a guest speaker who's invited.
Right on time.
But she is a safety person, and so she, pending her schedule, should be there to help talk about safety in the community. And if she makes it, there'll be some great information. But if she doesn't and she's not able to attend, we have some other school-based information. But it's on child safety and awareness.
Just in time. Yep, just in time information.
Yeah. And that will be at 6 p.m. on Tuesday. Yeah, and then somebody's asking for if it's possible, and I think that you just answered this, Dr. Irish. Would it be possible that the principal has a meeting with all of the parents that we're talking about the importance of security?
Absolutely, Fermina. That's the theme on Tuesday, but it's an ongoing conversation that we always have.
Yeah, and another parent's concern is that many parents are staying on top of what's going on with their kids, but other parents are not interested in what their children are doing, so they need to provide more attention. And that's why so many problems are happening. That's my opinion in the school. Yeah, so I hope many of our families will be able to join our meeting on Tuesday at 6. You'll be able to hear more about this, talk more about this.
Okay. We're just going to hang out then just for a little bit, Dr. Irish, just to let them continue the surveys. We had a very good number of participants today. I counted up to about 50 today. We got about 36 more online getting their surveys in. Again, thank you so much for your time.
Awesome. All right, well, great presentation. Good job. I'm going to sign off, but if you all need me for anything, let me know, and I will see these families here again on Tuesday at 6.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Irish.
And then iPhone is saying it's correct that children gives a lot of signals before they do something bad, but the teachers don't pay attention.
Yes, as Dr. Irish mentioned before, it is a community, it takes all of us working together to make it happen. The teachers are definitely trying to look at those things, but there are a lot of times they're really focused on trying to get the instruction, because that's what kids are going to have to demonstrate so that they can pass and get out of middle school or get to the 7th grade or get to the 8th grade. So that's kind of what's on the forefront of their mind is the instruction, but they do notice things that are prohibiting that from happening with kids. So they notice if a kid is sleeping a little bit more than normal or tired more than normal. And so they're communicating with the parents about that. They can see if there's some issues with their peers, if they are having some conflict. They turn their names into the counselors and have those peer mediations with counselors between students. So lots of things are happening. Again, we have 1,600 students. The teachers have 120 kids on each of their caseloads or in their classes. So they do their very best to keep an eye on each and every student, but it's also gonna, again, with the help of the parents, is gonna be even more stronger. So all of us working together will help to make that happen.
I'm not seeing any other questions right now.
Okay.
Here's another one. Okay. I think that violence influences much of what they live in their house. So a violent parent is gonna, have their child become violent. So if we can give a good example at home, then we can avoid problems in the future.
Thank you for that comment. In all things, we always say the parents are our first teachers and most important teachers. You're the first to teach them how to walk, how to talk. And so again, we are partnering with you as always to try to make sure that your kid makes it to the best and be their very best well-rounded student, meaning academic and as a person.
At some point, I do like to remove the interpretation option and just have everybody in the room together.
Okay.
Since somebody's asking for the survey. All right, so let me find that. So interpreters, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the interpretation now, and we'll all be in the one room together. And now let me look for that. There you go. And thank you to Miss Lee and Mr. John for interpreting for us. That's such a huge help for us.
Thank
Sure,
you.
absolutely.
No problem.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, maybe another minute or so. What do you think, Ms. Cooks?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Muchas
All right,
gracias.
so we can go ahead and close out.
Yes, ma'am. If people are still filling out the survey, I don't mind sticking around for a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
I know you got administrator things to go administrate. Yeah. Thank you. Who is that? We just said that. Let's see. Thank you, iPhone, for on a daily basis, reviewing your child's book bags. And thank you for the thought about allowing us to review it here at school. Gracias, iPhone, para revisar las mochilas de sus hijos y por su opinión que sería bien para que las revisemos aquí en la escuela.
And if I can just encourage everyone to complete the survey in the next 5 minutes, we're going to have to close out the meeting.
Yes, ma'am. And yeah, this is maybe how I was a little bit, but not to I don't want to not to any great degree, but sometimes children are one way at home and a different kind of kid at school, so we have to take that into consideration. I think that's a good point. Gracias, iPhone, por los comentarios y para hacer su encuesta. Thank you for your comments and for finishing the survey. So interpreters, I think we're good on our end. I'm not kicking you out, but
Okay, no problem.
thank you for
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. John. Thanks, Miss Lee.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, and I think we'll count us down from 10. Yes, I was said, Noemi. I think she's thinking John, but okay, so we'll count down from 10 and move on.
Okay.
Okay, Miss Doan, why don't you I don't think you've counted us down before. Why don't you count us down from 10 and at 1 we'll go ahead and close out.
Okay. It will be 9. I speak English, right? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. End.
Okay, all right.
Xin chào.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
That's todos. Thank you for everything. Come on. That's the only Vietnamese
Cảm
word.
ơn. Thank
on.
you. Yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks, Miss Cook.
Xin chào. Yeah.
I'll send out the
Bye-bye.
recording later.
Sure. Thank
For
you.
everything, and thank everybody else.